Hello there, I'm Barry Robinson for Scarborough TV News. We're out and about on a lovely day in Scarborough at the Italian Gardens. I'm with Adrian Perry and Tom Mutton. First of all, Adrian, what are we doing down here today?
Well, you've come here to hear our exciting news about how we're going to try to restore Southcliffe Gardens.
So how are you going to do it?
Well, we're hoping that the Heritage Lottery Fund will give us a lot of money. We're looking for a £5 million grant from the Parks for People Fund. It's a huge garden. It's over 52 acres, so we're not talking about a very small place. It's on a fairly difficult site because it's a cliff garden, and that makes it really unique. There aren't many cliff gardens around the country. It is in fact on the English Heritage list of registered historic gardens. So it has some very, very special memories for everybody, because I mean this garden was first established, they started out in 1830, they laid out the first part of the gardens. This part of the garden that we're in now, the Italian Gardens, that was laid out in 1914. So, you know, it's in a lot of people's memory.
And it hasn't really changed, because I used to come down here when I went to school here. I'm 62 and I was 13 then, and it looks pretty much the same to me.
It is. It's exactly the same. And in fact, that's what we're aiming for. We want to restore. I mean, it's 100 years old. Let's face it, when you're 100 years old, you need a little bit of money spending on you.
Yeah.
And it needs fixing up. There are areas in the garden that really are desperate for some repair. So we're going along to community consultation events, and we're showing them these boards. The first board that you see there is explaining the overall structure of the gardens, because it's a long site, you know, hugging the cliff, and it really highlights some of the important things that we're talking about doing, like a new link down to the promenade. You know, so you can get down from the Italian Gardens down to the sea very, very easily. And you can see by this one, we're featuring really the Italian Gardens and the Rose Garden. Now, these are a very, very important bit of the heritage of the garden, and obviously the horticultural excellence. So there we're proposing things like improvements to, you know, the footpaths, restoration of the shelters, work to the steps that are in there.
Adrian, these are the next two.
And these are very important because this part of the garden is ripe for having some alterations made. This is where we've decided that it would be suitable to put in some play areas for young people and some adventure areas for this older children. So this is a real change. I mean, we were worried about this particular part of the plan because we thought a lot of our residents along here would say, oh, we don't want kids screaming and shouting in the gardens. But we really were surprised. People thought it was a very, very good idea, and they thought that it was something that was lacking in the garden. So here we're sort of reinventing the gardens for, you know, for the 21st century. Well, these two boards are interesting parts of the garden because I'm not saying that they've been totally neglected, but they've been sort of put to grass. They're not really maintained, and they're not what a lot of people think of a garden is. And what we want to do is we want to put in some low maintenance planting which will bring flowers back into that area.
Okay, Tom Mutton, what is all your part in this?
Well, I work for Groundwork, which is an environmental charity that works with local communities to improve the local environment, and they've asked us to help the council project manage the stage 1 bid. As Adrian says, we're looking at putting a stage 1 bid in for the end of August this year. We'll hear whether the outcome of that in December. And then if we're successful in that, we'll enter what's called a development period, which will last around about 18 months, 2 years, where we do all the really detailed plans, and then have to submit again for a stage 2 application. So we're looking at probably 2019 before work would start on site, and a lot of hoops to jump through. You know, it's very competitive. The lottery money is there to bid for, but parks all across the country are bidding for this, so we need to put a really good case together. We think we've got the fantastic raw material with Southcliffe Gardens. You know, it's a unique park, fantastic coastal views, and something really special that we can make a winning bid out of.
Yeah, because going for a lottery fund is something special. It is hard. Yeah. It is hard work. Yeah. Doing it all, completing it.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work. I mean, we've been, you know, as Adrian says, 4 years it's been in the planning, but the last 6 months has really ramped it up. And there's a lot of plans to do. I mean, some exciting opportunities there, and we've had some really good feedback from people as well, you know, because it's not about just restoring the paths and the steps, but it's about bringing the life back to the park. So things like children's play facilities, treasure trails, all that kind of thing that are going to bring families back into the gardens, because although it's such a wonderful place, it's a kind of a bit forgotten corner of Scarborough, and so we need to put it back on the map and attract people to the garden and bring that life back to it. And what will help the bid is public support. So, you know, we've got a Facebook page, Southcliffe Gardens, the Friends have a website, and we're asking people to log on and like that page. Tell us what you think. There's a questionnaire up there as well about what people think about the gardens, how they'd like to see them improved. So get involved, come and volunteer with the Friends. They're here every week doing various gardening tasks. So get involved, take care of the gardens and help make it happen.
You're talking about volunteers. If anybody does want to come down here and volunteer, how would they go about it?
They just come along to the Rose Garden. Just behind the Rose Garden there's the gardener's yard. We meet there at 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning, every Wednesday morning. Of course, not when it's absolutely pouring with rain, but surprisingly enough, we are more or less working every Wednesday morning from 10 o'clock until 12 o'clock. And we just try to make those little interventions around the garden to brighten things up.
Okay, Adrian Perry, Tom Mutton, thank you very much indeed for inviting us down here and having a chat. I'm Barry Robinson, out and about in the Italian gardens for Scarborough TV News.